Morning, y'all. I had somebody ask me yesterday if I write all this stuff down or if I plan it out or whatever. And the truth is, for the most part, no. I do a little bit of research um, when like I have a verse come to my head or I feel really overwhelmed to talk on something. But other than doing the due diligence to research what the actual word says, pretty much it comes to me while I'm fixing my hair, which is what it did this time. Today I want to talk about good and evil and unforgiveness. So I have a really pretty cool perspective that I was shown when I was studying one day on unforgiveness and also on the nature of evil. There are words. I think I've said this before. Like, there's words that we've used so much that they've kind of lost their meaning. We don't really understand what they really mean, and that's why it's so great to go to an app like Bible Hub or something where you can really dig down into the meaning of words. I'm real big on specific use of words, and I believe that our Father is too. I want to read a scripture real quick, and then this is going to really give us, we can just break this down and have some real clarity on goodness, evilness, and unforgiveness and how they specifically relate to us today, right now, in this moment. So the scripture is Matthew 12:35. It says, "A good man brings good things out of the good that is stored in him." And this is probably out of the NIV. So if yours says something different, go with, your favorite version. "And an evil man brings up evil things out of," and the interlinear says, "out of his evil treasure." The version I was using said, "out of the evil stored up in him." Okay, so because that word treasure is actually where our word thesaurus comes from. It's thesaurus, and thesaurus, I think, is how it's pronounced, and it means storehouse. It's like where something is stored. So a thesaurus is literally a treasure trove of words. So anyway, little fun trivia fact there. So we see that the good man has good things stored up in him, and the evil man has evil things stored up in him. Now, I don't know about y'all, but like reading something like that back in the day would have made me go, well, there I am, I'm obviously the bad one because I have all this stuff coming out of me and I don't seem to have any control of it, like, gossip and anger and frustration. And, these things seem to keep me like really in bondage. And then reading something like this just brought more condemnation on me, like, because of the way that I was reading it. So I went and looked at that word evil one day, and that word evil in the Greek the word is poneros. I believe that's how it, poneros. I believe that's how it's pronounced. It basically means pain. So if you go and take these words out and then you reread these scriptures that we've just got so used to seeing certain words, we think we know what they mean. If you go and really look at that and you read this scripture, let's read it with it translated the way that it should be, okay? With this taken into context the meaning of this word. "A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in him. And a man full of pain brings things of pain out of the storehouse of pain that he has in him." So, like, doesn't that make it so much more sympathetic, which is what I believe our Jesus is? He talked about when he saw people in their sin, he saw it as sickness. He saw it for what it was. It's pain. There's pain stored up in us. And so that's what really ties back to unforgiveness, and how unforgiveness is that key between being the evil man or the evil woman, bringing out naturally, okay? It talks about us in multiple scriptures as we're trees. So a tree doesn't make a decision what it's going to bear. A pecan tree doesn't like go, this year I'm going to do peaches, I think. It's like it does pecans because that's what it do, right? So it's the same with us, okay? If we're a pecan tree, we're going to bear pecans. If we're a peach tree, we're going to bear peaches. And kind of the key to that in here that I'm seeing is the difference between what we bear, whether we're bearing good things or bad things, naturally, is not going out there and trimming all the limbs right and, reading a bunch of books, if I'm a pecan tree, on how to be a peach tree. It's about where is this pain that's stored up in me that is leading me to naturally bear this evil fruit of the things that I don't want in my life? I mean, it's not like this evil fruit are things that I want in my life. For the most part, they're things that keep me in bondage, that keep me trapped. So the question is, how can I get rid of this so I can be free? And if we go back and put free in everywhere that it's good, it makes it a whole lot more attractive. A free man brings forth freedom out of the freedom stored up in him, right? Doesn't everybody want some of that? So really it comes down to forgiveness. And if unforgiveness is just my storehouse of pain where I got all my receipts from all the people that have done bad for me, we can pretend like that's just an easy thing to do. Would just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to forgive. And, some people can do that, and that's great. Like, if you can just make a decision to forgive, do that, if it works for you. I went through a long process that led me to forgiveness, that I've been able to go through. I've taken several people through, and that's one way to do it also. But I know one thing that works almost immediately, and anyone who has actually done this will tell you that it did work for them. Okay, it'll work for anybody. Is you wanting to take, okay, so someone's hurt you. Someone's injured you. You got these receipts in your storehouse, right? It's continuing to bear fruit in your own life that you don't want. So instead of seeing everything, because what you're doing is and what I'm doing when I'm doing this is I'm seeing everything through this filter of pain. Okay, all of life is being looked at through this filter of pain I can't see correctly. So I need to transfer and say, okay, instead of putting money in this account anymore, I'm gonna quit. Like I start, I see this person, and the first thing that comes up is, this stuff in my mind. Oh, here's some receipts on what this person did. No. I'm going to start putting some stuff in this storehouse, because it says that the goodness and the freedom comes out of this good storehouse. So I need to start storing up in this account. I need to quit depositing money in this account. I need to quit counting the money in this account. I need to be like, let's just zero that out and let's start putting money in this account. So I got to physically, if you got money in your savings and you want to move it to your checking, you don't just be like, sit at home and go, you know what, I think I want that in my checking. And then the bank just automatically does it. Like, you got to take some steps. You got to move it over. So every time that thought comes up, blah, 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 these people, those, SOBs, everything else, right? Okay. And it can be a collective. It doesn't have to be a person. I had all sorts of resentments against the government and all sorts of institutions, groups of people, blanket bias and prejudice. And, every time that happens, I have a choice today. And this is where we overcome evil with good as believers, is to pray for that person, to pray for that group, to pray for the best for them, right? Because I want to store up freedom and goodness. Okay, and that's how I do it, is instead of engaging in this mental, over and over again, I got words for it, I won't use them, of replaying this tape over and over again, I'm going to put pause on the tape and I'm going to start a new tape. And that new tape is going to sound like, Father, bless them. Bring goodness into their life. Bring, how I was taught is, bring everything in their life I want in mine. Now, when I first started praying that prayer over some people, it felt literally like I wanted to throw up. Because, some of these injuries and stuff we have been nursing, and there is a huge stockpile in the storehouse, right? It's been there for a long time. And I've told myself that I'm justified in having that. If you had it, you would feel the same way, and that may be true, but do I want to be free or not is the question. So to be free, I gotta be willing to let those things go that have rotted in this old storehouse. I don't want a storehouse full of rotten crap. I want a storehouse full of fresh stuff. And so it's, so to overcome that, to store up the fresh stuff, it's gotta be, give them everything in their life I want in mine. And I'm not going to lie to anyone. Some of them prayers had cuss words in them. My God's okay with that. He hears that stuff. And then over time, it gets less and less where that anger's coming out in the prayer, and more where I can actually begin to mean those things. and my heart becomes softened and I become free, and nothing has changed with the situation. Nothing's changed. Probably nothing's changed with that person, although, in some cases I've been reconciled to people because my heart's been softened. They don't have to change for me to be free, and that's good news. And so that's what I got today and if there's other there's a lot in the word about evil. If you want to study more, go back through, and every place where it talks about goodness or righteousness, try putting freedom in there, especially in the New Testament, right? And everywhere where there's evil, put the word pain or wickedness, put the word pain, and see if it changes what it means to you and gives you some clarity on next steps to take to really live your best life, because that's what it's all about. It's not about condoning the sin that other people have done. It's about living the best life today and making the most out of it today and being free, completely free. And so I hope you are blessed by this. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.